Someone tells you, you did a great job, and you take it. Someone tells you, you're such a kind person, and something in you flinches. You smile. You say thank you. But inside, a quiet voice says, if only they knew. Why does one kind of praise feel earned, and the other feel like a trap? Think about the last time someone praised your work. A finished project, a good decision, a meal you cooked. That kind of praise slides in easily. It has proof behind it. It happened. It's over. Nobody can take it back. Now think about the last time someone said something about you. You're so thoughtful. You're such a calm person. You always know what to say. Something tightens. Not because you don't want to be seen that way, but because now you have to keep being it. This is what makes character-based praise so different. Achievement praise is a photograph, a single moment, already captured. Character praise is a prediction, a claim about tomorrow, and the day after, and every day you haven't lived yet. And somewhere along the way, you learn that predictions like that get tested. Maybe you were the responsible one in your family, and one bad day felt like betrayal. Maybe you were the strong friend, so nobody noticed when you weren't. Maybe you were called so mature for your age, and you quietly understood that meant you weren't allowed to fall apart. So now, when someone says, you're kind, part of you is already scanning the last week for evidence against it. That unkind text you almost sent, that moment you snap, that time you didn't help when you could have. The compliment doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a bill you're not sure you can pay. So the question isn't really, why can't you take a compliment? The real question is, what is your brain protecting you from? Here's what's easy to miss. This isn't low self-esteem. It isn't modesty. It isn't broken wiring. It's a very old, very intelligent survival strategy, just aimed at the wrong target now. At some point, being defined by others came with a cost. Maybe being called the smart one meant more was expected and less was forgiven. Maybe being called easygoing meant your needs quietly stopped matching. Somewhere, identity-based labels got tangled up with pressure, exposure, or loss of control. Your mind noticed the pattern, and it did what minds are built to do. It adapted. It started treating permanent labels as risk, and temporary results as safe. That's not damage. That's design. You built a filter that lets in praise for what you did, and quietly deflects praise for who you are, because who you are once felt like something that could be used against you. The flinch isn't proof you're fake. It's proof you once had to be very careful about being seen. Here's what's actually happening in your brain, in plain terms. Your mind runs something close to a discrepancy check. It constantly compares new information against your existing self-concept. When the two match, nothing happens. No alarm, no attention. When they don't match, your brain flags it. You did great on the presentation. Match is something you already half believe. I can perform well under pressure sometime. Easy match. No alarm. You're such a kind person reaches for your self-concept, and your self-concept doesn't have a clean, confident file called kind. It has a messy folder full of contradictions, kind sometimes, tired sometimes, sharp sometimes, guilty sometimes. Mismatch. Alarm. Here's a simple mental model to hold on to. Think of your self-concept like a weather forecast, not a permanent climate. Achievement praise says, it rained yesterday. True. Recorded. Can't be undone. Character praise says, this is a sunny region. And your brain immediately remembers every storm it's ever had, because it knows the forecast can be wrong, and being wrong feels dangerous. That's the mechanism, not fragility, forecasting anxiety. Your brain isn't rejecting the compliment. It's flinching at the responsibility of a forecast it's not sure it can keep. You don't fix this by forcing yourself to just accept compliments. That skips the mechanism entirely. Here's what actually works with your brain, not against it. Step 1. Separate the claim from the contract. What to do? When someone gives you character praise, silently reframe it as a photograph, not a prediction. You're kind becomes, I was kind, at least in that moment. Why it works? This lowers the discrepancy. You're not disputing a single true instance, only rejecting the lifelong forecast attached to it. Example, a friend says, you're so patient. Instead of scanning for counter-evidence, mentally note, I was patient with her today. That's just true. Step 2, widen your self-concept file on purpose. What to do? Once a week, write down one specific moment where you showed a trait you usually doubt in yourself. Why it works? The discrepancy check only flags mismatches. Feeding it more matching evidence over time shrinks the gap between the compliment and your self-image, so it stops triggering an alarm. Example, you notice you gave up your seat on the bus without thinking. You write it down, I am, sometimes, generous without effort. Step 3, let sometimes be enough. What to do? Replace the internal word always with sometimes when a trait is named. Why it works? Your brain resists absolutes because they're unfalsifiable and threatening. Sometimes is provable, low risk, and true, which lets your nervous system stand down. Example, you're always so calm becomes, in your head, I'm calm often enough that people notice. That's easier to carry. Step 4. Notice the flinch without obeying it. What to do when you feel the urge to deflect a compliment. Oh, it's nothing, I'm really not. Pause for 3 seconds before responding. Why it works. Deflection is a learned reflex, not a fact. The pause interrupts the automatic behavioral loop long enough for a more accurate response to surface. Example, someone says, "You're a good listener." Instead of the instant, "Not really," you pause, then simply say, "Thank you," nothing more. Step 5. Ask what the label is actually protecting you from. What to do when a compliment lands hard. Quietly ask yourself, what would it cost me if this were expected of me forever? Why it works. This surfaces the hidden fear driving the flinch, turning in vague discomfort into a specific, workable thought. Example, if I'm the strong one, I'm afraid I can't fall apart. Naming it takes away some of its grip. Here's the one model to keep. Achievement praise is a photograph. Character praise is a forecast. And you don't have to trust the forecast to accept the photograph. Every time someone names a trait in you, they're not signing a contract on your behalf. They're just describing something true about a moment that already happened. You get to let that be enough, without promising it will always be true. You are not required to be consistent to be real. You were kind once. That's not a burden, that's just a fact, sitting quietly in the past, asking nothing of you. The next time someone tells you who you are, you don't have to prove it. You only have to have been it, even once. That's already true. That was always enough. If this video made you think differently, subscribe to Think Unordian, share your perspective in the comments, and join a growing community exploring psychology, philosophy, and self-mastery. That's all for today. Until next time, keep thinking beyond the ordinary.
If this video made you think differently, like THR video, subscribe to Think Unordian, share your perspective in the comments, and join a growing community exploring psychology, philosophy, and self-mastery. That's all for today. Until next time, keep thinking beyond the ordinary.